Good evening. Thanks for joining us on KLBK. I'm John Hanson. Terry is off tonight. Well, Texas Tech police say that the number of sexual assaults in college dorm rooms is up since 2016, and they want you to know there's always help if you're a victim. Armani Salazar spoke with Texas Tech police today. She joins us from the HD News Center with more. Now, Armani, campus police told you that this number fluctuates and that it's often a silent crime.
It changes because most sexual assaults go unreported, so there could be more than the data shows. But campus police say you should always call them if you need their help.
Just be aware of your surroundings and who's coming in and out of your dorm room.
There were 5 reported sex offenses in Texas Tech campus dorms in 2016, 10 in 2017.
Be smart when it comes to alcohol. A lot of these sexual assaults involve some type of alcohol between one or both parties. Always have a friend of the same sex stay with you.
Campus Police Lieutenant Amy Ivey says, sadly, it's common for college kids to not report the incidents at all, for whatever reason. She says people just choose not to get police or Title IX involved.
A lot of the individuals are afraid to come forward with the reporting of a sexual assault, so they just keep it to themselves. They don't even tell their family or friends. We strongly encourage individuals to report any type of sexual assault they may be involved in.
But that shouldn't be the case.
They never know who else may have fallen victim, so it just takes one person to speak out to hopefully be able to encourage others to be able to speak out as well on sexual assaults.
Resources like the RISE Department and Title IX are there for anyone who's been a victim.
Confidential reporting where they can go and get medical help. They can also get any type of professional help that may need to help them cope.
If you're a victim of sexual assault, we'll post numbers that you can call for help on our website, everythinglubbock.com.
Thanks, Monty. Police need your help after a bar fight here at CC's Bar and Grill on 50th Street left a military veteran dead. Now, family members say that they brought Zenon Cano Jr. to UMC for help after that fight, but he later died. Cano served in the Navy and Army for more than 20 years and was recently deployed on a humanitarian mission to Guatemala. Right now, police are asking for any witnesses who might have seen something to step forward.
It's always extremely helpful to the case when people can come forward and let us know exactly what happened, if they witnessed something, if they heard something, you know, even if it was after the fact, if they heard someone talking about the incident and they may have information. It's extremely helpful for our investigators to get down to the bottom of what exactly happened. So we always encourage people to give us a call.
And if you did hear something or saw something, call the crime line at 741-1000. Is Lubbock County breaking state law by banning guns in the courthouse? Well, Jim and Tracy Baxa asked the Texas Attorney General that very question. Now, they made a complaint when they were ordered to disarm before coming into the courthouse. About 2 weeks later, the AG sent a letter to Lubbock County. It says that officials will review and then make a final decision. The Baxas say that they just had to go to the courthouse to renew their passports, and they weren't headed into a courtroom, and they say that that's an important detail.
We had a right to carry the guns through those hallways and into that office, but not into the courtrooms where we don't, seek to go and where guns are not allowed anyway.
Some folk believe it's ambiguous, and yet some believe it's very clear what can be done. It's important to know and to remember that this is the Lubbock County Courthouse. It's not the Lubbock County Governmental Office Building.
Lubbock County Commissioners say that there is no way to separate all the courts from the rest of the building, such as the stairs, the elevators, or hallways, and that's why they approved a declaration making the entire building a premise of governmental court. Now, this question is still pending, though, at the Office of the Attorney General. We'll provide you an update as soon as the AG makes a ruling. First Bank and Trust made a deal with Rager Dykes Mall in court records that would clear up some tension between those companies. First Bank and Trust says that Rager Dykes owes them roughly $1.5 million in bounced checks, plus an additional $3 million from 2 different loans. One thing filed this morning is that the bank would confiscate cars at Rager Auto Mall because it's not on the list of bankrupt dealerships. Rager Auto Mall agreed to put up a $3 million bond and get insurance on a list of vehicles that are held as collateral to the FB&T. Then, once Rager Auto Mall has done what the agreement says, the company can sell, lease, or take trade-ins for those cars. And money made from the vehicles will then be held in the FB&T account and must be agreed upon by FB&T. First Capital also claims Rager Dykes companies owe money. The agreement says that if there are further disputes, the court will step in. The $3 million bond is no longer valid if Rager Auto Mall joins the other Rager Dyke companies in bankruptcy. A human rights organization says the number of kids taken from their families at the border is actually higher than previously disclosed. And Amnesty International is calling on Congress to enter and investigate further. Our Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon spoke to the researcher who obtained that new numbers and breaks them down.
Amnesty International calls the family separations at the border torture. Brian Griffey, a researcher with the human rights group, says more children have been taken from their families than previously disclosed by the Trump administration.
Until now, there's not been a proper reckoning as to the true number of families who were separated by the Trump administration in 2017 and 2018.
Amnesty International says it appears more than 6,000 family units were separated from April through August, and nearly 8,000 in 2017 and 2018. And some families weren't counted because the government didn't believe they were real families.
They said it means grandma or any other family member who's not a direct parent or guardian.
Amnesty International also found that asylum seekers also had their children taken away from them at legal points of entry, and that the U.S. government illegally prevented migrants from seeking asylum. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley wonders why these numbers are different than those reported by Homeland Security. Amnesty International says Congress needs to investigate.
I'm convinced that will not happen while the Republicans controlling their body. They just don't seem to be responding to their responsibility to protect children.
We emailed and called DHS and CBP for a response, and so far have not received one. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Thanks, Alexandra. The U.S. deficit is up 17%. Figures from the 2018 fiscal year, which ended September 30th, were released today by the Treasury Department. A $779 billion. That's the federal government's credit bill, as it is highest since 2012. Now, at that point, the country was still spending a lot to help the struggling economy recover. The most recently reported deficit is due in part to Social Security and interest on the federal debt. Spending also ballooned 3% over the previous year after a bipartisan defense budget deal in 2017. White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney says that the number should be, quote, a blunt warning to Congress to take action against unnecessary spending.
Honoring the men and women who've served our nation. 1,000 thanks from KLBK and Interim Healthcare.
Some veterans from the South Plains are back home tonight after a trip of a lifetime. This is a live look as they come home. They're in Washington, D.C. as part of the Honor Flight program. Now, those veterans spent the weekend seeing Washington's war memorials and patriotic sites. KLBK's Anna Warnicki caught up with the group at its final stop, a visit on Capitol Hill.
He's 2 years older than I am.
That's awesome.
And I look 2 years older than he does.
Don and Claude Tugwell say they grew up inseparable. Both graduated from Levelland High School and immediately joined the Air Force.
He served in Korea. I served in Japan.
And this weekend, they reunited like old times on the Texas South Plains Honor Flight.
The good thing is we got to come together.
Yeah. The Tugwells traveled to Washington with 82 West Texas veterans. The group toured the city and visited the war memorials to honor their fallen comrades.
The highlight for me personally was being able to lay the wreath at the monument of the Air Force Memorial.
The Capitol is the last stop for these veterans on their 3-day trip in Washington, but for some, it's the most memorable stop.
I've been almost ready to cry the whole time I've been here, really. That's the truth. For me, it's been a real emotional deal.
Ronald Jett served in the Vietnam War and says he never thought he would get the chance to walk the halls of Congress.
That's something that very few people get to do.
Texas South Plains Honor Flight sends a group of veterans to Washington each year. It costs the veterans nothing. The trip is staffed by volunteers and paid for by donations from the local community. This year's flight cost $250,000.
It's been a real emotional, but really I've enjoyed every minute of it. It's a special trip.
And for many veterans like Jet, it's an honor of a lifetime. In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
Thanks, Anna. Now, we saw District 19 Congressman Jody Arrington alongside those veterans today, and we caught up with him after they had headed back home to see about how he felt about their experience.
These are patriots. These are freedom-loving, God-fearing Americans who just want a safe, strong, and free country for their children and grandchildren. Well, we wouldn't have that we wouldn't have that promise of a bright future if it weren't for not just their sacrifice, but the sacrifice of those who didn't return.
And again, we have, this is a live look. I mean, just look at the people at the airport. I don't know if the Preston Smith Airport's ever been that busy before, but from everyone here at KLBK, we want to say thank you for your service. For more veteran stories around the South Plains, just visit everythinglubbock.com/1000thanks. And don't forget, early voting starts a week from today. Tomorrow, you actually have another chance to learn about the upcoming bond election for Lubbock ISD. They're hosting a meeting tomorrow night. That's going to be at 5:30 at Coronado High School cafeteria. School leaders say that the $130 million bond will not increase your property taxes. $50 million will be used for safety and security. And election season is around the corner, and one woman in Iowa is making sure that others know it's time to vote. Mary Rose Brown is 92 years old and spends time every day writing letters by hand to people all over the country. Her goal? To get people to the polls. Brown wants everyone to realize their vote does count, and she said that if you don't vote, you can't complain, so go vote. Erica Rankin reports.
As time winds down to Election Day,
quite worried listening to you.
And you're telling everybody what they want to hear.
Mary Rose Brown works diligently in Apartment 10 to write personal letters to voters.
This is something I can do. I have time, and I can still write.
And with a background in the political world,
I've always been involved in the voting procedure. I've always gone out getting absentee ballots.
Brown wants others to know how important each vote is.
Your vote has to count. If you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain.
Because she feels that vote can create a change.
They just need somebody to give them a little extra push.
So she spends time every day handwriting letters.
I can do about 50 a day.
Purposely picking colors for certain words to grab people's attention.
I always use vote in red whenever I write the word vote.
So far, Mary has sent over 700 letters.
October 3, 100, October 4, 50.
All in hopes to achieve one goal.
If I can convince any of them that their vote will count, then I'm going to be happy.
Good for her. Coming up after the break, we're getting a preview of why some experts think that this winter is going to be a wet one. But first, Heidi, cold this morning, some rain tonight. What do parents need to have ready for those kids in the morning?
Definitely want to have that rain jacket handy as well as some coats because it is going to be another chilly start. Today we actually reached the freezing mark at 32 degrees for your lows. Highs only getting to 44, so 32 degrees below average. We do have a slow warming trend on the way, but it looks like the 40s will stick around for a little longer. Details coming up.
Now, meteorologist Heidi Wagner with KLBK's first warning weather.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday to you. It was a very chilly start to the day, and as we move into tomorrow, it's looking very similar. But we are going to see some improvements as we head into the work week. Taking a look outside, you can see here Bob Mills Skycam. Really looking nice out there. Really clear conditions. Roadways are a bit wet though, so make sure you're driving with caution if you are going to head out and about. We did see a little bit of rain. That rain chance will continue, about a 10% chance for tonight. And again, just very light rain. Might see a moderate downpour here or there, but for the most part, just light rain, which is slightly a problem because tomorrow morning, many locations will see some freezing temperatures, which means icy roadways. You will want to take it extra slow in the morning. Be prepared for the rain, and we do have more rain chances on the way for tomorrow. Here's a look at the future track. Again, seeing those rain chances on and off tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, a few more rain chances are possible, and that continues into the evening hours. But again, nothing widespread, just seeing a good bit of cloud cover across the area. Rain chances increase as we move into your Wednesday night and Thursday. You will want to keep those umbrellas handy. That's going to bring just a slight temperature drop, but then those temperatures begin to warm up again starting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, looking beautiful and sunny, which means any outdoor activities you have planned, say you're going for the Cars for Canines event that's going to be going on, if you're heading out to the Texas Tech game, if you're going to the corn maze, all those activities nice and clear. Temperature-wise, will also be a little bit warmer tonight, though. 38 in Lubbock, 41 in Midland, 46 in the San Antonio regions, and 45 in Del Rio. High temperatures over the next few days will warm up, as mentioned, getting back into the low 60s by your Friday and Saturday, but still pretty cool for midweek. Tonight, we're looking at, again, a 10% chance for that rain. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. Winds from the north-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And look at about 33 here in Lubbock. Still doesn't mean it won't be icy on the roadways, though. And your Texas Tech football forecast for this Saturday, looking really nice. 63 degrees for that kickoff temperature, and winds from the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour. And your 7-day forecast shows the rain chances increasing into Thursday, and then thankfully the temperatures increasing into the weekend.
You know, one person not complaining, though, is my wife. She is thrilled that it's finally cooled off.
There are so many people who are excited about the cold weather, but then there are so many others who are like, bring back the 70s. And I'm like, I wish I could. I really wish I could.
I'm okay. I just get my wool socks on and I'm happy. So, all right. Well, I'm sure, as everybody knows, it was really cool today in Texas, starting to shift from that dry, scorching summer into the cooler fall/wintry weather that we're going to be seeing, right?
That's right. And we could expect wetter conditions during these next few months as well. KLBK's Steffi Lee has more.
Tiny ice crystals fell outside the National Weather Service's Amarillo office Sunday. After parts of Texas flooded last week, Central Texas is slated to have more rain this week.
A lot of the dry conditions that we were seeing are finally gone for now.
That's confirmed by the latest drought monitor map, and the wet weather could keep coming. Meteorologists say this could be a year with above average rainfall, similar to what the state saw in 2015.
Some of our snowiest years were El Nino years. It's all going to come down to how strong it ends up getting. It's not a very strong event right now.
We live in Texas, and we need to be prepared for the fact that the weather is going to do this.
It's still hard to predict.
If it quits raining, then we'll, kind of be heading back the other direction. So we need it to be consistent. Hopefully El Nino will help out on that.
Which is why Texans are encouraged to play a role in saving water.
When it's dry out, many of us start conserving water at home, but what we really need is to be continuing those habits all year long.
In Austin, Steffi Lee, KLBK News.
Thanks, Steffi. Coming up after the break, in CyberSafe, we look at a danger that digital devices are posing for your children and some free tools to keep them safe.
Keeping Kids Cyber Safe, sponsored by TTU K-12.
Welcome back. While handing your child a phone has a lot of online dangers associated with it, there is another danger that could put them in physical harm. Distracted driving. It's something that kills around 9 people every day and injures around 1,000, which is why experts say parents need to step in and stop it.
We know all the dangers of texting and driving. Why do we still do it? The only answers I can come up with is you haven't killed anybody, or you haven't killed yourself, or been seriously injured in an accident while texting and driving.
And the numbers back that statement up.
You're 6 times more likely to be involved in a fatality crash texting and driving than if you were under the influence of alcohol. And that's why they call it the new teen drunk driving. It's more dangerous than driving at a .08, believe it or not.
It's no surprise considering that it takes about 5 seconds to read and send a text, and in that 5 seconds at 55 miles an hour, you can cover the length of a football field.
If we ask you to go out in your car and drive the length of a football field on the highway blindfolded, would you do it? No, but we will look down and send a text out, which is the same difference.
Every day, roughly 481,000 drivers are using their cell phones while they're behind the wheel. And then when they're involved in an accident, and if it's fatal, 25% of those are with teenagers.
That's the problem with texting and driving. It is a preventable accident.
Not to mention, you may have the tool to stop that distraction on the thing that's distracting you. iPhones come with the app called Do Not Disturb while driving.
As soon as your phone senses that you are driving, it cuts off everything. And it will give you a reminder at the very end when you've parked your car to say, hey, don't forget to respond to these people. And it automatically sends a text message out to those who have tried to contact you that say, hey, I'm driving, I'll get back to you in a few minutes.
And if you don't already have it set up, just go to the settings, find the Do Not Disturb tab, and then scroll down to the Do Not Disturb while driving and turn it on. As for Android, you have to download a free app.
Download an app called Driving Detective, and this one works just like that. It'll stop any notifications or any sounds coming in to let you know that you're getting these texts and calls.
Simple tools that could save you or your child's life.
The last thing that we want to do is to know that we sent the last text to one of our loved ones that they received and were trying to read that caused them to have a crash and possibly take their life.
Now remember that if you are a passenger, don't be afraid to speak up if the driver is texting and driving. Lieutenant Witt also says that it's a good idea to actually put that don't text and drive into writing, where both the parents and the teens sign a contract saying that neither of them will text and drive. We actually have a link to one of those documents over on our website where you can sign that with our kids on